Straight onwards to the top story that we're tracking this evening. India's top auditor has submitted its much-anticipated report on the Rafale fighter jet deal on the last day of the final session of Parliament under the current Modi government. Now, the CAG has concluded that the Modi government deal is 2.86% cheaper than the deal signed by the previous UPA government in 2007. However, the auditor also admitted that comparison of prices posed difficulties, and the report has redacted portions referring to specific breakup of the costs. Now, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had claimed on the floor of the Parliament that the base price of the aircraft under the 2015 deal is 9% cheaper than the previous deal. But the CAG report has refuted this, saying that the price of the basic flyaway aircraft in the current deal is the same as the 2007 deal. Now, the CAG report also notes that the 2007 deal entailed a 15% bank guarantee from Dassault against advance payments by the government. But the 2015 deal had no bank guarantee, and the French provided only a letter of comfort. This was done despite the advice from the Law Ministry seeking a sovereign guarantee. Now, the report concludes that the lack of bank guarantee meant savings for the vendor at the expense of the Indian exchequer. Another key reason the Modi government cited for reducing the number of jets from 126 in the 2007 deal to 36 in the new deal was to address the urgent needs of the Air Force. But according to the CAG, the schedule for delivery of Rafale jet under the new deal has improved by a mere 1 month. 71 months under the 2015 deal and 72 months under the 2007 deal. Now, the report also notes that the Indian negotiating team expressed apprehension even about this particular delivery schedule. Let's actually bring in Rituparna Bhuyan, who's joining us live. Ritu, what exactly are the key highlights and takeaways really from the seemingly complex CAG report?
Well, there are several details that have emerged. Of course, one headline that has emerged is that the CAG notes that there is a saving of 2.86% compared to the UPA deal. However, the CAG report goes on to explain this difference and has said, and I quote, the difference between the allied price estimated by the negotiating team and the audit could be attributed to inconsistent price variation factors adopted by the negotiating team, alignment of the quantity scope of the two offers, and the difficulties of the alignment itself, as stated earlier. So, saying that while there is a 2.86% saving, the reason for this saving could be the difference of negotiating stand that was achieved. There may not be an actual 2.86% saving as far as the deal is concerned. Then, as far as the timeline of the delivery is concerned, the audit has noted that as against a delivery period of 72 months in the earlier offer, that is the UPA offer, the contracted delivery schedule for the 36 Rafale aircraft was actually 71 months, which means that there was only an advantage of 1 month. And even that on this delivery schedule, the CAG is not sure how much of these delivery schedule that has been basically agreed upon, how much of that could be adhered to. Then, more importantly, as far as this issue of bank guarantee is concerned, on which there have been several news reports, this CAG report has actually gone on to say that the Law Ministry had advised the government for a sovereign guarantee, which the French government refused. The issue was finally sent to the cabinet, and the cabinet decided that the French offer of having a letter of comfort, that would be enough. So this CAG report actually confirms that there was a within the government there was a feeling that bank guarantee should be involved as far as this deal is concerned. But at the very highest level in the cabinet, the decision and the call was taken to not invoke a bank guarantee, to not actually call for a bank guarantee in the deal, and instead agree to the French demand for a letter of comfort. And then the report goes on to further say that the government said that there is an element of saving because bank guarantee processing costs are not involved, and hence there is a saving. On that, the audit says that the saving even if you agree that there is a saving, this saving would accrue to only Dassault Aviation and not the government itself. Last but not the least, I would also like to point out towards the issue of escrow accounts. On that, there was a decision that was taken within the government that the money would be transferred to accounts opened by the vendors and not through an escrow account, because the French government said that it is unwilling to open escrow accounts to take forward this deal. So while yes, the CAG report while comparing the NDA and the UPA prices have said that there is a 2.86% price advantage. It has then gone on to say that this price advantage, one has to actually look deeper into it. We'll have to go deeper into it, because the full it is very difficult to compare both the UPA and the NDA deals, because the aircraft's size and the contracts were different, but the overall savings may not be in actual terms. We'll have to go and we'll have to wait and see how the government now explains this this observation which the CAG has made. Remember that government had claimed a 9% saving on the basic aircraft package, which CAG has said no, it's a 2.86% saving. With that, it's back to you.
Meanwhile, not surprisingly, the BJP was quick to claim vindication over the Rafale deal soon after the CAG report was made public. But the opposition parties stepped up the protest. Now, the entire top brass of the Congress raised slogans outside Parliament, including Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, along with former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Congress had asked for the CAG, Rajiv Maharishi, to recuse himself as he was Finance Secretary when the deal was signed. But the then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had hit back, saying Maharishi had not seen any file or paper on the Rafale transactions during his stint at the North Block. Here is the political war of words.
Well, the CAG report has completely vindicated the stand of the NDA government. What does the CAG say? The NDA deal is cheaper. That's 2016 is cheaper than the 2007 transaction. The maintenance provisions are better. The delivery schedule is tighter. The transaction has been negotiated at a much faster pace. And they have not found anything fundamentally wrong with the transaction. I think what is particular about this transaction is there are some vested interests. Vested interests may have interest of either corporate rivals in mind or political opposition to the government in mind, or perhaps both, who have been trying to make this deal controversial. Well, the Congress stands for destruction of institutions. They destroyed every institution during the emergency. They attacked the Supreme Court. They've been attacking on EVMs, the Election Commission. They haven't spared the CAG.
So why are we not seeing what we are seeing here, which is the dissent note that they have placed? This is the officers saying we do not agree with this new deal. This new deal is rubbish, this new deal is a con, this new deal is robbery. So why is this not here? Even if we say they have not talked about cost, and even if we say this document is not in this CAG report, FM said, Raksha Mantri FM and Modi ji made different statements on price, and they said that the new deal is between 9% and 20% better in financial terms. So the CAG report is saying that they lied in the first place.
क्या कैग ने ये पूछा है कि बैंक गारंटी हटाने से कितना नुकसान देश का हुआ है? 7% का। कैग को ये नहीं देखना चाहिए कि 36 जहाज और 126 जहाज अगर कीमत लगभग बराबर हो तो कितना फर्क है, वो कम है या ज्यादा है? कैग की एक रिपोर्ट है, सरकार ने लिखवाई है, जिस तरह से सुप्रीम कोर्ट से एक ऑर्डर लेकर आए थे, उसको पीएससी देखेगी और इसको स्वीकार नहीं किया जाएगा।
कांग्रेस को संविधान पर भरोसा नहीं, सीएजी पर भरोसा नहीं। जब जिस व्यक्ति को संविधान पर भरोसा नहीं, वो देश पर भरोसा क्या? राफेल में उनको दलाली नहीं मिल पाया है, इसीलिए बौखलाहट है। राफेल की दलाली रुक गई, दलाली के लिए ही डील इतने दिनों तक रुका था। बेचैनी इसीलिए है, इसीलिए मोदी फोबिया हो गया है। अब वो एक मेंटल केस हो।
Now, the budget session has come to an end in the Rajya Sabha as the upper house of the parliament has been adjourned sine die. Now, this means that two crucial pieces of legislation, the Citizenship Amendment Bill and the Triple Talaq Bill, will lapse on the day when the current Lok Sabha is dissolved. Now, this as both these bills are pending with the House of Elders. Remember, the provision regarding lapse of a bill in the Rajya Sabha legislative procedure states that a bill which is passed by the Lok Sabha and is pending in the Rajya Sabha lapses on the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister made his final speech before the 16th Lok Sabha. He praised the performance of parliamentarians cutting across party lines. Samajwadi Party leader Mulayam Singh Yadav created a stir when he backed the Prime Minister to return for a second term. Modi thanked Mulayam in his speech and even made a humorous reference to Rahul Gandhi's now famous hug and wink episode.
मैं पहली बार यहाँ आया था, बहुत सी चीजें नई जानने को मिली जिसका कुछ अर्थ ही जिंदगी में पता नहीं था। पहली बार मुझे पता चला कि गले मिलना और गले पड़ना में क्या अंतर होता है। ये पहली बार पता चला मुझे। पहली बार मैं देख रहा हूँ कि सदन में आंखों से गुस्ताखियां होती हैं। ये आंखों की गुस्ताखियों वाला खेल भी पहली बार इसी सदन में देखने को मिला और देश के मीडिया ने भी बहुत को उसको मजा लिया।
So the spotlight onto the Lal Street, where it was another weak day of trade. Now the markets gave up all its gains in the last hour of trade. The Nifty and Sensex ended the day over 0.25% lower, with the Nifty even slipping below that 10,800 mark. It was no different for the broader markets as well, with the Nifty Bank losing over 100 points to end close to 0.5% in the red. The mid-caps were in line with the benchmark indices. Onwards to New Delhi, where the battle between Reliance Communications and its erstwhile partner Ericsson rages on in the Supreme Court. Both sides presented their arguments in the apex court today, and Ericsson questioned how Reliance has the money to invest in Rafale, but no money to repay any of its alleged dues. In response, Reliance Communications Council argued that it was agreed that only Reliance Communications would have to repay the dues, and hence no other ADAG group company was liable. Let's bring in Ashmit Kumar, who was present at the court earlier this morning. Ashmit, what exactly were the other arguments put forth by both parties in this case?
Right, so to begin with, today was the second time that that Anil Ambani had been summoned by the apex court. Anil Ambani did oblige. He turned up at the court at about 10 in the morning. He spent the next 5.5 hours in the apex court, stayed for the entire duration of the hearing. And well, speaking of the hearing itself, there were heated arguments exchanged on both sides. Ericsson's counsels argued that people like Anil Ambani appear to have money to invest in Rafale but do not have money to pay legitimate dues, going a step further and saying that they have lavish lifestyles, live in mansions, live like kings, but are not paying a legitimate amount that is due and payable to Ericsson. They essentially argued that there appears to be a conspiracy in works between the lenders as well as RCOM, that there's a definite strategy at play to deny paying that amount of 550 crore rupees to Ericsson, that this is a blatant violation of the apex court orders, given as how RCOM had undertaken before the apex court to make that payment of 550 crore rupees. Now, RCOM and Anil Ambani's counsels, on the other hand, however, argued that of the entire transaction that had been planned with Reliance Jio for 18,000 crore rupees, only 780 crore rupees has been received, that the mere act of putting the company under IBC wiped out 15,000 crore rupees off the market cap of the company, causing a personal loss of 7,500 crore rupees to Anil Ambani. Also going on to argue that there is no law in the country that makes the director personally liable in case the company defaults. And finally saying that as far as that payment of 550 crore rupees is concerned, it was always contingent on the Reliance Jio transaction, and that since that did not happen, there is no question of coming good on that undertaking. So with that, the apex court has reserved its judgment. All eyes now on the apex court to give clarity on the way forward. Back to you.
Keeping it in the legal space, the National Company Law Tribunal has shown the green signal to Amtech Auto lenders, who can now go ahead and start the insolvency process from scratch. This as it dismissed the bid submitted by Liberty House. Let's bring in Ritu Singh, who's joining us live from the Mumbai newsroom. Ritu, what exactly are you picking up on this case?
Well, you know, Nitya, it's been 20 months since Amtech Auto was admitted into the NCLT under the bankruptcy code after it was referred by the SBI-led consortium. And since then, in April of last year, the lenders had finally decided on Liberty House as the winning bidder, and thereafter, in July, NCLT had given its final stamp of approval. But since then, Liberty House failed to make any repayment to the lenders within all the timelines that were given, which prompted the lenders then to move the court again to seek settlement in this case. So now we're given to understand that the Chandigarh bench of NCLT has granted the lenders' plea, whereas where they've scratched the bid that was submitted by Liberty House because it failed to repay the lenders in the stipulated time, and asked the lenders to restart the corporate insolvency process for Amtech Auto from scratch, which means the lenders will now have to once again invite expressions of interest and bids to shortlist the final resolution applicant. For this, instead of the usual 180-day timeline that is granted to cases under IBC, the court has granted the lenders of Amtech Auto a little over 4 months or close to 140 days to complete this entire process. In addition, because of the fact that Liberty House failed to make these repayments within time, they have also allowed lenders on their request to invoke Section 74 of the IBC Act, under which a person that fails to make these kind of repayments can be penalized or even sent to prison for a period of 1 to 5 years. That is something that the lenders are free to now decide, which they will do in consultation with the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Do remember, the debt for Amtech Auto is close to 12,000 crore rupees, and a lot of money has already been lost by the lenders in this entire process, of 20 months, where even to this date now there is no resolution plan in place.
Ritu Singh, appreciate you bringing us up to speed with that crucial corporate development. And now a crucial meeting of the Sir Dorabji Tata Trust Board is taking place this evening. Now the Dorabji Tata Trust, along with Ratan Tata Trust and 2 others, remember, holds 66% in Tata Sons. Kritika Saxena is joining us from Mumbai live with the details. Kritika, thanks for joining in. And what exactly is on the agenda in today's meeting?
Well, this is an annual meeting that happens to discuss the budget, but it comes at a time when the Income Tax Department has withdrawn the tax exemption that has been guaranteed to the Sir Dorabji Trust along with the other Tata Trust related entities. So what we understand is that the board is likely to discuss this withdrawal of the income tax assessment. Now, let me give you a background about why the exemption or tax exemption was withdrawn. The Income Tax Department, in their study of in their assessment of the 2016 to 2017 dated 30th of 2018, there was an order that had come out on December 30th, and in that order they stated that the remuneration of R. Venkatramanan has been extremely high, and as a result of that it is not in accordance with the trust deed. At that particular point in time, R. Venkatramanan's remuneration was about 2.66 crore rupees, and as a result of that the tax exemption was withdrawn from the Dorabji Tata Trust. So we understand that the board is likely to take into account the role of Venkatramanan going forward. Our sources say that R. Venkatramanan had also in fact offered to resign if need be, and if the exemption is returned in such a case. So we understand that the resignation is likely to be considered, and they may look at other roles. So they may look at relocation of Mr. Ramanan. They may look at including him into the Tata Sons board. So there are many other discussions around his role that are likely to be considered. But what the crucial point that lies here is that R. Venkatramanan role is going to be finalized in this board meeting today.
All right, Kritika, appreciate you joining us with all those details. Shifting gears to a key global development then, US President Donald Trump is reportedly not happy with the deal hammered out by the Republicans and Democrats on border security. In order to avert a second shutdown, he also remained non-committal on signing the agreement. So what exactly are Trump's concerns? CNBC brings us this story.
Sir, will you sign Congress's border deal? President Trump tonight unimpressed by that bipartisan border deal hammered out by congressional leaders.
Am I happy at first glance? I just got to see it. The answer is no, I'm not. I'm not happy.
Still, the president wouldn't say whether he would sign or veto the bill before another partial government shutdown at midnight Friday.
I don't think you're going to see a shutdown. I wouldn't want to go to it now. If you did have it, it's a Democrat's fault.
But tonight, instead of threatening to declare a national emergency, the president's now hinting he'll take executive action to redirect money to pay for the wall.
It's not doing the trick. but I'm adding things to it. And when you add whatever I have to add, it's all going to happen where we're going to build a beautiful, big, strong wall.
The deal would provide nearly $1.4 billion for 55 miles of new border barrier, no concrete wall, and far short of the $5.7 billion the president's demanded. The compromise immediately coming under fire from the president's conservative allies.
I'm getting details. $1.3 billion. That's not even a wall, a barrier. Any Republican that supports this garbage compromise, you will have to explain.
It follows a combative Trump rally in El Paso last night.
We have suffered a totally dishonest media.
A man with a Make America Great Again hat attacked a BBC cameraman inside the cordoned-off press area. The man was removed from the arena, and the journalist was not hurt.
On that note, we're absolutely timed out on this edition of Reporter's Diary, but keep it with CNBC TV 18 because up next, the Nifty slips below 10,800 and the Sensex ends just above the 36,000 mark. Markets Today Talkback takes all the action forward. Goodbye and thanks for watching.